information. And I'd also ask again that everyone on the call, if you could go on mute, please. We're getting some background noise. Okay, so I'm going to take about just a very short amount of time and give a public health report, then we'll be asking the other sectors to report. So I wanted to start off this morning. I'd like to ask everybody again if you could go on mute, please. Please mute your phones. Thank you. Okay, so as of this morning, we still do not have any cases of COVID-19 in the Four Corners district, including York County. I wanted to update everyone that yes, we are doing tests in our district. They're being done at our medical providers. Again, please, if you could mute your phone. If we could please mute screens. All right, thank you. Tests are being done in our district. There's been a lot of reports about testing supplies and amount of tests available. And in our district, it is the fact that the testing supplies and the tests being run, they are a limited quantity.
Hopefully they're safe.
Okay, I hope everyone's okay. We are busy at the Four Corners district trying to work with people to get them to stay home and in quarantine people. And so we are asking people to self-report to Four Corners if they have been to the following places: Europe, Washington State. I think we have someone not on mute at this point.
There's a child in the background.
All right. I believe. I think. Okay.
I can't text her.
All right.
Recording.
We are asking people to self-report to Four Corners from if they've been in the last 14 days to Europe, Washington State, California, New York City, the counties of Summit, Eagle, Gunnison, Pitkin in Colorado, Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea, Iran, Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, and China. Those are the places we're asking people to self-report to us because we're asking people to quarantine for 14 days, to self-quarantine. And we monitor at that time, and we have about 120 people right now in quarantine across our district. You've probably all been paying attention to the reports from the governor. So we are actually very much in line with everything that the governor has been putting out there. Right now for our district, we are looking at those gatherings to limiting them to 10 people or less. And you may hear more about this too on some of the business sector reports and how those guidelines are being implemented, as well as people practicing social distancing and taking extra measures to monitor themselves if they have traveled anywhere in the entire United States in the past 14 days. The whole United States is actually on a warning alert level 2 right now. So if anyone has traveled anywhere, we are recommending social distancing at work, as well as self-monitoring for those people. We have, and we're going to hear a report from the healthcare sector as well. We are asking them to report, and they are, in fact, we are hearing a lot of reports of shortages of PPE from the different healthcare providers as well as EMS and different community partners. We were able to get some caches from the state stockpiles as well as our local stockpiles and deployed them. As of yesterday, everything went out the door to the partners. And so you'll know if you're receiving some of that at this point. So for right now, that is my public health report. I would like to turn it over. Next on the agenda is the medical sector. So if we have someone on the medical sector, and if you're having questions for anybody. If you'd start typing them in the chat, Madonna Mogul is going to be monitoring those and getting the questions, and we'll have a time later to answer questions. So if there's someone on from the medical sector, go ahead, please.
Laura, this is Jim Ulrich from York General. I'll just give an overview on a few things. So we're making preparation in all our campuses in line with the CDC regulations or CDC guidelines, directions from you at Four Corners, and obviously the official recommendations from a state and national level as well. As many of you probably know, the hospital's highly restricting visitors, limited to one when necessary, and any visitors will be screened. Patients with appointments still come in, but call ahead if you're suspecting COVID-19 or have symptoms. Nursing homes and assisted livings, no visitors at this time. We've even separated really the residents from any of their gathering, and they're having meals in their individual rooms. Those of you that have been on our Facebook site will notice that Willowbrook's got creative with hallway bingo, where they're doing social distancing and everything. So we're trying some things, certainly. Westview, pretty much the same as the hospital, but the daycare remains open to employees. That's lots of cleaning, lots of hygiene efforts, and we're following the guidelines of the governor on that as well, keeping daycares open. That's so very important to keeping our staffing levels up at our organizations too. All employees need to check in and are screened. Daily temperatures of employees have been implemented at Hearthstone and Willowbrook. Wellness has been closed for this week and will be evaluated weekly, but expect that to be closed for several weeks. Still doing elective surgeries, but we're doing that on a daily basis and really working closely with a lot of our providers that come from Lincoln on that very thing. As you mentioned, traveling outside the state is highly discouraged. We're even outside our state and making determinations. I think we've worked with Four Corners and we're looking at even additional states that are starting to pop up on the radar even more than what you mentioned. Implement a staffing pool, which is something that we're reallocating staff to the areas of greatest need from within our walls, and Willowbrook, Hearthstone, and the ER are most in need of that at this time. No outside meetings coming in, and just a word on York Medical Clinic. Also, screening staff daily, discontinuing walk-ins temporarily, screening patients upon entering the clinic, and really encouraging phone triage visits as well. We do have a daily incident command meeting that's at 9 o'clock, so I will have to leave if this goes past about 5 to 9. And then communication is key on our part, and we're doing daily staff updates from incident command on our board and our medical staff. Facebook, paper, the radio. Tamara Weems was on the radio stations this morning, and we also took out our ads on the radio station and put in COVID-19 messages instead. And so we used to be giving updates at social clubs until now none of those are active. So and our PPE limits are okay right now. Thank you. The cash delivery certainly that helped some of the masks, and I know some things to come in the following week, but we certainly are in a conservation mode and looking how we can preserve that. We're having some departments clean their own departments, so environmental services doesn't have to gown and mask up every time we do that. Some things like that we're putting in place. So I'll keep our update at that.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. I would like to see if Henderson, if there's any updates from Henderson at this time. Okay, it doesn't seem that we have any updates from Henderson at this time. So I'd like to move ahead then. And Lisa and Madonna, if you have any updates you'd like to provide for the business.
Hi, this is Lisa again. York County Development Corporation, just as an update, I am in the office and I am available by my cell phone to any of the business community. That's 402-326-1125. Feel free to give me a call. I know some of our businesses are experiencing some cash flow issues. What we are doing is on our our yorkdevco.com, our website, we are posting business resources. The SBA, Small Business Administration, has released, they're including Nebraska into that. Most of the bankers in Nebraska, most of the bankers in York County are familiar with the SBA program. So if you need help to get through the next year or the next 2 months, let us know. Also, labor law, I'm trying to keep that up to date on our website. So right now, just go to yorkdevco.com and select the news page, and you can go there. And I'm going to turn it over to Madonna in a moment. I just want to say one more thing. I have had several businesses reach out wondering what they can do to help our community. I know all the schools need assistance, especially in the elementary age with supplies and stuff. There will be issues such as food delivery, which the schools, I know our superintendents will touch on that, are handling to some extent, but there are options. So if you want to help, whether it's volunteer-wise or it's cash, please reach out to either Madonna or me or to the schools themselves. I'm going to turn it over to Madonna.
Thank you, Lisa. I will echo that. I've had calls already yesterday on people who are experiencing some time away from work and want to use that time to serve. So if you're finding yourself in that position, feel free to contact my office. We will compile that list, maybe share what your comfort level is as to how you can serve, and we can start filtering that out to the various organizations that are looking for assistance. I want to remind everyone we are keeping a running running list of adjustments to schedules as well as cancellations. We have opened that up. Our board met yesterday. We will open that up for the entire community, not just for chamber member businesses, just in the interest that we want to keep everyone safe and at those social distancings that have been recommended. I do want to really ask all of the businesses that are in our service industry if they could please look at the guidelines that have been issued from the governor and the CDC and our Four Corners Health Department, and limit your attendance to 10 or less. It really will help flatten the curve. I have spoken with people I trust greatly, and they said what we're doing will make a difference. In the meantime, we want to also just let everyone know that we're committed to support our community. You know, we want to keep our heart in our community and show some local love if it's possible. And if you need a service, we do have a lot of great providers in York to help you with that. We will continue to work with Four Corners Health and YCDC to help get words out and information to the community. Thank you.
All right, so we'd like to, I apologize, I went away from the agenda. I'd like to go back and pick up the local government sector. Do we have Randy Obermeyer on to give a report for the county?
Yeah, you got me there, Flora.
Thank you.
Okay, from the county's aspect, this morning I'm looking at a couple words called patience and common sense. We're really asking for a lot of patience from the public right now as we try to figure out, is this a new normal, a temporary normal that we're going through? And we have been probably changed since the first of the week. At the first of the week, we implemented, we've got some blasts coming for the assessor, the clerk, the treasurer's office to give them a barrier from the public. But then, as you probably all noticed yesterday, those offices were locked. And I will emphasize they're locked only. They are continued and will continue to stay open for the time being. So a lot of that business that the county has always been able to do online, we're really asking you to do as much as you can online. Your taxes can be paid online. Your driver's license can be renewed online. You know, there's different things that you can do, and we would ask you to do that. If you do need to do a face-to-face, which some things have to be, you can call those offices and set up an appointment. And they're going to be more than happy not only to help you with your online questions, but to schedule an appointment and work with you that way also. We are also looking into an outside drop box.
Sorry.
And this would obviously eliminate any need to enter the building. The building for the time being will stay open. We have a court system that's currently running in the building. We have COSTA in the building. We have the DMV in the building. Those are offices that are outside of our control, although they kind of follow our lead. So for the current time, the building will stay open. And rest assured, every decision that we're making, not only do we have the public in mind, but we also have 100 employees with the county, and we need to think about their welfare also. So that being said, we do have some offices that are outside the courthouse, like aging services, extension, and the road department. Those departments are doing this essentially the same protocols, limiting access to the office and doing that. And you can always call those offices and set up a one-on-one. We will be meeting with our employees tomorrow morning, or actually our department heads and elected officials, talk about the new bill the president signed last night, and see how that affects them. We want to keep them safe. We want to keep the public safe. We want to make sure our employees can take care of their families if need be in the immediate future, and who knows how long this will last. I would like to touch on one thing also, and I'm very glad that the call center has been up and running, and it's kind of isolated all on its own in the northern part of the building. So that's a good thing that was already done, and we're not waiting for that to be built. So with that, that's really all I have this morning. Obviously, you can always call me or call the offices at the courthouse to see if you need to get in. Just like say, just remember that, a small town like ours, most people you meet each day are either a neighbor, a friend, or a relative. I think we treat each other with respect, and as Madonna said, show some love. We're going to be fine. It's just we're going to have to get used to somewhat of That's all I got right now, Laura.
All right, thank you. And again, we'd like to remind everyone to mute, please. We're getting a lot of background noise as well. Next, we have Barry Redfern, Mayor of York, to give a quick update.
Good morning. Just Randy said a lot of good things that are very important. The city and the county will continue to work together in any way that we can. As you know, we shut public access down to all of our buildings earlier this week for the same reasons, to keep the public safe and our employees safe. Those buildings and those departments are all fully manned. If you need help, call any of them and they're there to help you. We do have a drop box outside the city for any payments that you can drop off, and everything that we can do there you can do online. So just think it's important that everybody be patient during this time. We have had numerous staff meetings with department heads to work on contingency plans and backup plans. We may go to some split staffing, but I want to assure you that all of your city services will go uninterrupted, and we have people to back up anybody if we have any issues. So we'll continue to look at that on a daily or every other day basis. And this is a fluid situation, so we all have to be flexible. And I would like to say too, we're only in most of these situations as strong as our weakest link. So we really do need to ask everybody to do their very best in trying to be safe and trying to stay, down to 10 people or less. And so I've had calls also. So I really want to stress that to our business. We'd rather do this the nice way, but if we have to later, we'll do it the hard way. So that's really all I have. Remember, our phones are available. If you have questions, call. There are people there to help you. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Barry. We also checking to see if Mike Yoder would be on to give a Henderson update. Are there any other communities that would like to give updates? Okay, so let's move on then. We'd like to get an update from the education sector. So if you have a report, could, I believe Mitch Bartholomew's on for sure. If you'd be so kind as to give a report, and then also any other school districts that would like to report, please.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. This is Mitch Bartholomew at Public Schools. On Monday, the Governor and Commissioner of Education came out and gave a recommendation for all schools to use this week to prepare for a closure. Could be up to 6 weeks. And so I think a very large percentage of schools across the state can dismiss students for the week. And then we were tasked to build an education plan for remote learning. And so at YPS, that's what our teachers and staff are working on this week.
Everybody's gonna get my kids a Chromebook, they don't have it, still have to have some kind of internet.
We also have some that, have to do that from home due to self-quarantine and so. And so what we've done is sent out some more communication yesterday at York Public Schools. We've done that, and then starting Monday, we will implement that 2-week closure as stated by the Commissioner and Governor. And so we will for sure be closed through April 3rd. We'll reevaluate at that point in time and see where we're at. To be honest, and this is my opinion only at this point, and I do not know that schools will be back in session this school year. Obviously, I hope so, but for our purposes, I know many schools possibility of not being back this year. So much like you, we've implemented many protocols that are different, that are not normal. At YPS, we're not allowing external groups on campuses. We're limiting visitors, that type of thing. But also, too, we still have to get some type of learning materials out to our students. So, for example, at our elementary this morning, they have a very scheduled time and place. Parents and students have some learning packets and so on. So much like everybody else, it's kind of a wait on our end of it. We're getting many regulations and rules federally that we have to follow on the education side that is truly limiting really what we can do with kids in this situation. So that's been probably a frustration for many. But like I said, we are, York Public Schools is closed up through April 3rd, and we reevaluate at that point in time.
Thank you, Mitch. Do we have any other school superintendents on that who would like to give an update, please? All right, with that then we'll move on, and is there anyone on from the Ministerial Alliance to give an update? Or a church? Okay, then we'll proceed, and we have asked Erin Sams from the Health Coalition to give an update as well. Erin, are you on?
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Good morning. Like Laura said, I'm Erin Sams. I serve as the coordinator for the York County Health Coalition, and we're here to help support and facilitate aligned activities to support community and child well-being. And as you've heard, there's been several conversations already happening on how we can meet the basic needs of families during this time. And one great thing is that many resources are still in operation, just in modified formats. So one big question right now is how are we getting food to families? So a couple of resources to be aware of. Currently, the mobile food bank that's provided by Lincoln is still planning to come on the first Friday of the month. They are at East Hill over the noon hour. They may be changing to a drive-through structure when they do come. I believe YPS is working on something similar to the summer food program is what I was told. Heartland Community Schools is also working on a plan for families. For families in the McCool district, if those families need food, please contact the school as they're working on a plan of delivering food. Carrie's in McCool is offering lunches to school-aged children from 11 to 1. The Blue Valley Food Pantry here in York is still open. They will be operating on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 1 to 4 by appointment only. So please call ahead before going. Their doors are closed to the public, but they're moving it outside. And Walmart is still at this point dropping off fresh produce once a week. Meals on Wheels still continues. So for older individuals in the community, they need to contact the York County Aging Services. And if it's a financial burden, we encourage those individuals to contact Health and Human Services to explore possible financial assistance. And also Living Water Mission, as far as we know, will continue to offer meals as well. More conversation on food systems in the community right now will happen this morning at 11 a.m. on a Zoom meeting. And you can find that Zoom link on our Facebook page, just York County Health Coalition. A note on childcare, Chandra Berlin, who is our childcare provider coach with Sixpence at YPS, is our lead for the York County Child Care Alliance. And we really want to remind community and business leaders that childcare facilities are also under the guidelines to limit classroom sizes to 10 children. So one thing that can be helpful is if you have employees or yourself who can work remotely and stay home with your kiddos, that will allow other spots to be open in childcare centers for individuals and employees who cannot work remotely. The Crisis Pregnancy Center continues to operate. They are now on an appointment-only schedule, and they'll be closed on Saturdays. And we also know that donations of diapers have recently been made to Four Corners, the Crisis Pregnancy Center, and Living Water Mission. So we know that diapers are also something that's in need. And then finally, a couple notes on mental health. We just want to remind everyone to be aware of the difference between social distancing and social isolation, especially for older individuals in the community. This is a great time to give a phone call or to FaceTime with grandparents or older individuals in the community, as this will help limit neglect and social isolation. And then also please be aware that sometimes during increased times of distress, alcohol and substance abuse, as well as thoughts of suicide, can increase. So please just take the few extra minutes to ask employees and community members just how are they doing, and be sincerely interested in their response. Barb Ivy is the contact for the York County Prevention Network, which is formerly the Drug Task Force. She's a great resource to connect with. And we also have been hearing that some mental health offices are working on establishing telehealth options with the guidelines to limit the number of people in offices. So that's all I have right now, Laura.
All right, thank you very much for the update, Erin.
Hold on just a second. I'm gonna try to change something on here, and then maybe
We found him and he's gone.
okay. So now when Laura asks for the next person, you'll have to unmute yourself, but I've just successfully muted everybody, so we shouldn't be losing the camera. Go ahead,
Okay.
Laura.
All right, so Madonna's been getting some questions.
There
Can
are
you-
more announcements. You just want me to read them?
You want to just come over
Yeah.
here? Yeah. Madonna's going to, she has some more announcements that were in the chat.
So thank you for those that are submitting things through the chat. York Surgical Associates wants to echo what Jim Ulrich from York General said, that they are open and postponing and not scheduling elective procedures. We will be putting the rest of their announcement out in Chamber Chat and on our website. Lisa Jacobson from Perennial Power has indicated that their lobby is also closed. But they encourage any perennial customers, if they are having difficulty with their electric bills, to please call, and they will work on payment arrangements with you. That's what I have. Mitch just indicated that York Public Schools has approved to serve free meals to students, and he can give details if needed.
I wanted to say what Blake said yesterday.
Oh,
Yesterday.
Yeah, and well, Blake from Ace Hardware, they will remain open as long as they can, because they do have those essential needs. I don't have it memorized. It's too big.
We just violated our 6 feet radius.
Yep, sorry.
But Blake said in most states, hardware stores are considered an essential service because you never know what can go wrong in your house. So he will stay open. He's taking precautions within his store, but it's a great time to paint your room. So we have multiple stores here in town.
Ooh.
Madonna just had another.
I have a lot here. So this is very important. York County Public Transportation will be running, but riders do need to call at least 24 hours in advance. And the Housing Authority is meeting with applicants to provide housing. They are screening people upon entry to the Housing Authority office. Cindy Nickel, their session at First Presbyterian Church is implementing online service. So it looks like a lot of the churches have heeded from the suggestions from the governor. They did have a governor's conference earlier this week to suspend their worship services and do a lot of online services. So we will get some of those informations out on the chat and on the Chamber's website as well. That's all I have.
Okay. So I think that we've wrapped up everything in the chat at this point. And we would like to also refer people to our websites again. The Four Corners website, we are constantly updating that with the latest recommendations. And again, as of right now, there are no cases in York County or in the Four Corners district of the COVID-19, and we are continuing to test people. But we do expect to see it sometime in the upcoming days or weeks. So we would also refer people to our website, www.fourcorners.ne.gov. And with that, we'd like to go ahead and conclude the briefing. We do not have any more questions in the chat. This is something we would like to roll over to next week, hold this briefing again, same time next Thursday, 8:30. And in the morning, and do the exact same thing again, and just keep everyone updated that way. We now also have some good contact lists, and I'd like to thank Lisa and Madonna for helping get the word out on this briefing. So we'd like to be able to have that again next week at 8:30. We will be sending out a new Zoom link. So if there's a partner who has not been on this call that you'd like included next time, please let Madonna or Lisa know, and we'll make sure that that link goes out. We'll also be sending out, if there's emergency updates or emergency briefings that we feel are necessary, we will be using this same mode to contact people to notify them of emerging events. So with that, we'll sign off. Thank you, everybody.